If you're a clinician who's burned out from the grind and the business that medicine has become, and you're tired of trading your time for money, then you are in the right place. Hi, I'm Michelle. I'm a PA, and I built an online business helping PAs and NPs find more freedom and fulfillment both in and out of the clinic. And today I am so excited to be joined by Katie Bean. She's a fellow PA who got burnt out working in emergency medicine. And then she built an online business that gave her back her time and freedom, all while skyrocketing her income. So she's here to share her journey and to give you some practical steps to start creating an online business of your own. So welcome, Katie. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me, Michelle. I love what you're doing. I'm so inspired by you, and I've been a fan for a long time. I followed you for a while, so love what you're doing.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. As we'll see later in the interview, I'm a fan of what Katie's doing, and I think you will be too. So many clinicians just feel kind of stuck. They're burnt out, they're missing family time, or they're just craving something more in their life. For someone who's in that place, what do you want to say to them?
Yes. So this is actually one of my favorite topics because I used to be there. And I want to say to you that there is another way. And just a little bit about kind of my origin story and my conversion story to how I got to where I am today is I have been a PA for 15 years now and have dabbled in lots of different specialties, primarily emergency medicine, full-time, while also teaching full-time at a PA school. And I found after about 7 years, I was really getting burned out. I felt stifled. I had risen to the highest that I could as far as my degree and my education. And I was just burning the candle from both ends. I was missing everything with my kids, working in the emergency department as well as academia. I remember finishing up shifts and just, crying on the way home from work because I had missed everything again with my kids. And when I finally came to and realized that there was another way and built an online business, now 2 online businesses, and was able to step back from clinic and then eventually leave clinic, escape clinic, as I like to say, it opened up a whole new world for me. And I don't want any providers to think that they have to stay stuck like that for decades, feeling unfulfilled, waking up dreading their clinic day, missing all the most meaningful moments in life. And I want them to know that there is another way to take their education, to take what they've been through, their clinical brain, and to package it all up into an online format that can help and serve not only massive people, but also create a lifestyle and a work-life balance that we're really missing as healthcare providers. And that seems to be getting worse and worse as we go.
So tell us a little bit more about that first business that you built. What was the idea that you had and what did it become?
So my very first business was a business around helping pre-PAs get into PA school. And when I realized that I could not go on for another few decades in emergency medicine, working in clinic, and just to come back to the point that you just made, we, for the most part, providers go into healthcare to help patients, to provide healing and health and longevity and all of that sort of thing to help people get better. And it's not the medicine, it's not the patients usually. What it is the healthcare system, the structure of how we deliver healthcare that causes the most burnout, in my opinion. And so when I knew that it wasn't sustainable, I wasn't going to be able to sustain this for another few decades. And then when I retire, finally get to live and enjoy life and not wake up dreading it. What I really thought about was, okay, how can I use what I already know, what people already come to me for help with, and that really helps them solve a problem? How can I use that in a different way, specifically in an online format? So I thought about, okay, how can I help a certain group of people make a transformation, get from point A to point B, the results that they want? And I was already helping pre-PAs. Everybody came to me for advice, like, how do I have a stronger application? How do I succeed in my interview and land that seat? And so that's what it started with. It started with that. And then from that, just in a few years, was able to totally leave clinic. I exponentially exceeded my PA income. I made more than I ever made as a PA, not to mention was able to help people all over the world, not just in my geographical location like you would seeing patients. And then that opened up such a new world to me that I was like, I can't sit on this. I can't keep this quiet. Like other providers need to know that there's another way, that if they want to help more people supplement their income, have a side hustle, or leave clinic and only work clinic when they want to leave clinic, that it is absolutely 1,000% an option.
And you touched on some of the advantages of online business, but I wanted to talk about that a little bit more. Like, what do you think about online business versus the traditional method of business? What's unique or different about online business?
Yeah, so I'm a huge advocate for online business for multiple different reasons. So, one, with an online business, the virtual format, you're able to serve people all over the world. You're not limited by your geography. You're not limited by the number of patients that can come in through the door. You're down the street from you or in your neighborhood. You literally have millions of people at the tips of your fingers that you can help. So the impact, number one, the impact and the service that you can provide others with the education that you have that people desperately need, whoever those people are, the people that you love to serve and help, they're all over, not just in your neighborhood. And so online businesses open up the door to serve so many more people. The other thing is that there's no limit or cap to the amount of income you can make. It's literally unlimited. The number of people you can serve, if you're doing the group format especially, is unlimited. The amount of money you can make is unlimited. And then from a lifestyle perspective, it is also amazing to be able to create your own schedule, to work from anywhere in the world. I have worked on the Amalfi Coast. I have worked, in South America and the Galapagos. I leave next week for pretty much a month in South Africa, and I'll be able to work from anywhere. So all of those things are some of my favorite things about having an online business and why I'm a huge proponent.
Yeah, and not only to mention the fact that it's not trading time for money anymore. You create something and it is working for you 24/7.
1,000%. And that was actually one of my biggest aha moments when I first started. It was only a few months into my first business, and I woke up and I was dreading my shift, and I go to look at my phone and there's a notification that I had made sales while I was literally sleeping. And that was, again, it was a game changer. Like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that this is possible. And it's so easy. Like it's not difficult. Like business is whatever you make it, right? You can make it hard. You can make it to where you have to work hours and hours and, grind yourself to the bone, or you can make it easy, just like you said, with the type of business model where you're not trading your time for dollars and you're helping multiple people at the same time, kind of thing.
Yeah, and I love those mornings I wake up and I've got a text and it tells me I had a certain amount of money deposited in my account. I'm like, sweet. You gotta love that. Yeah. You already shared that you've multiplied your PA income. For people who don't understand the potential for income in a online business, and you've kind of hit on it, but is there any more that you can explain about that to help people really understand the potential that's there?
I teach several different business models, so coaching, digital courses, and monthly memberships. When it comes to coaching, when you're in a group coaching container, meaning you pull in multiple people, the people that you love to help, you are serving them all together. So the only limit is the number of people you can fit on Zoom, right? 1,000 people, 5,000. I mean, you can have so many people on Zoom. And so it is the same amount of time to serve one person as it is to serve the entire group of people. So that's the group coaching format. So there's really no limit to that. It's just the number of people you pull into your container who you help. When it comes to digital courses, that is, you create a digital course that takes someone from point A to the transformation, the result that they want, the end result, point B. And that's put together typically on some sort of course platform. I love Teachable. That's where I host my digital courses. It's super easy to use. It's drag and drop. And from there, it's just getting it in front of people, right? The people who need that course. And there is no time commitment to showing up for that course. It's already done, right? So the time commitment's on the front end. You create the course and then it goes to your people. They purchase it and it's self-paced, self-directed, and there's no limit to that. And then when it comes to monthly membership, it's very similar to the group coaching in that it's the same time commitment to serve all the people in your monthly membership as it is to serve one people. So the content that you create in a monthly membership model, it's the same for one person as it is for 1,000 people. And so, as you can see, it's just a numbers game then. Then, once you have your model created, whichever one you go with, it's just a matter of pulling people in and serving them with radical empathy, helping them get to their transformation and delivering great content. That's really it.
If you saw me looking down when Katie was talking, I was running some numbers on a calculator, and it's hard to understand the numbers until you run them. So just to give you an example, I paid for a course that I took that was $5,000. It was an expensive course, but it was one of those where they had people, other people that had joined the course on this Zoom call. So it was a group coaching type situation. And I would say on most calls, there were 15 people or more on joining the call at the same time. And they had multiple days where you could join the call. So this was only a portion of the cohort or the people they were teaching at the time. So 5,000 times 15 people is $75,000. And you only had access to the coaches for 3 months. So they did 2 or 3 coaching sessions a week. They were an hour long, I think. So for 3 hours a week, they were making $75,000 over a 3-month period. And then they would let in a new cohort and do it all over again. So the numbers are staggering. But even if you don't do something, that expensive, say you have a course that is $1,000 and you sign up 100 people, that's $100,000. As Katie said, you're reaching millions, if not billions of people in the world with something that you have to offer. Do you think you could find 100 people that need the information that you gave for them? Right? I mean, am I crazy in
You
this,
are
or is that
exactly right. You are preaching to the choir. Yes.
yeah. Yeah. So that's why we're talking about this today. And I hope that perks up some of your ears, and so that you understand that this is something you really seriously need to consider and think about, because it can be life changing. So let's dive back into talking about some more nuts and bolts of this. So I know one thing that people are probably thinking right now is like, I'm not an expert in anything. I haven't had this big stellar career. I'm not the person that everyone looks up to, in my field. And I just don't know that I have anything to offer people. What do you have to say about that, Katie?
Oh, that it makes me smile and kind of giggle a bit, because you are absolutely an expert. So providers make some of the best business owners because you're already an expert. When you graduate school, you're an expert in multiple different topics. And when it comes to online businesses, you do not need to be the top best in the world go-to guru. You need to be literally just 2 to 3 steps ahead of the people that need your help. That is it. There are people who are looking at you who want to be where you are, whatever that is, or who need the information that you have. So let's take, for example, a healthcare provider who works with autoimmune diseases, right? So you've got 15 minutes, 30 minutes, maybe if you're lucky, 45 minutes with patients, and you have that time to discuss their HPI, their whatever symptoms they've got going on, to order the labs, discuss the lab results, and then deliver the diagnosis in medical jargon that patients don't understand. And then 15 minutes, if you're lucky, to deliver patient education before you see them again in 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, right? And so that patient goes home. And this is one of my biggest complaints about the healthcare system, is that we are doing such a disservice to our patients. And it's just kind of the way our healthcare system's set up. Through no one's real fault, but our patients aren't getting the information that they need. But let's say that healthcare provider who focuses on autoimmune diseases creates a digital course. And let's say it's specifically on Hashimoto's. And they help somebody newly diagnosed with Hashimoto's through the lifestyle changes, what to expect at their provider appointment, how to talk about their lab results, how to implement nutrition changes. I mean, there's so many different things. I'm just riffing here. But all that to say, you are already an expert just because of your position and your title, and you just need to be a few steps ahead of the people that you love to help and love to serve.
I think most of us know what education we'd love to give, but we know that there's not time to do it and stuff. And so all of that can be put into a course together. But I know that in saying that, there's got to be people sitting here thinking, well, yeah, but that seems awfully risky, like giving medical advice on the internet. And could I lose my license or could I be sued? Can you talk a little bit about that? Is that a real concern?
It depends on how you set it up. So the way that I teach, I don't teach how to set up telemedicine, which that's definitely out there. So if your listeners here who are like, I want to use my license, I want to practice medicine, I want telemedicine, that is something totally different than what I
Right.
teach. The way
Okay.
that I do teach is to use your clinical brain, your background, and do it in such a way that it's coaching. It's lifestyle coaching
Right.
format. So you're not actually
Or
using
education.
your
Yeah.
you got it.
Yeah.
Education. So you're not actually using your license. You're not practicing in the capacity of a PA, MP, MD, DO. You are providing education that helps somebody get from point A to point B without the clinical component.
You're giving that education in a general format. You are not specifically telling that person to do this. And I assume there's other language people can put in to cover their liability, right?
I'm not a lawyer, so I always recommend that
Right.
anyone who is starting a business where if they feel that they might be going into some gray areas, you can meet with a business lawyer and they usually do free consultations. It sounds intimidating, but I promise it is not intimidating. Just go meet with a lawyer, do the free consultation if you have any questions, and they can kind of walk you through the gray areas and the nuances.
And they can tell you about any disclaimers that you can put to give yourself more confidence that you're not crossing that line. So there are plenty of clinical topics that people can talk about that are not practicing medicine straight up. But also, these courses don't have to have anything to do with medicine, right? I mean, you can do a course on anything, playing guitar or cooking something or whatever. There's a million things you can do. But since we're talking about clinicians, a lot of people want to use their clinical knowledge. So that's why we bring this up. And I also want to give another example. I interviewed a PA who works in fertility medicine. And same thing as you were saying, she had all of this stuff she wanted to talk to people about because you can imagine fertility is a very emotional topic and there's a lot of general health things that affect fertility. And she felt like she never had time to address that stuff. And so she started an online business where she counsels people through fertility, teaches them different things about it, points them to resources and stuff like that. But she's not directly practicing medicine. She's just giving some information and helping educate people on the topic. So I'll put that video up here so you can check out like an actual case study of somebody else who has done and started this online business. And I know Colleen Sloan just started a nutrition for
I love
providers
her. Love
course and
Colleen.
stuff. Yeah. So there's lots of different, you'll see people out there. If you start paying attention, you'll see lots of examples of this. So if somebody's watching this, whether they're a clinician or not, and they are sitting here thinking, well, this all sounds great, but I have no idea what I would even build. How do you help people kind of figure out what it is that they might could build?
An entire chunk of my business is to help people find their perfect and profitable online business idea because that is one of the most common concerns that I hear. I have no idea what business idea I would do, and I'm afraid of failing. I'm afraid of getting started and nobody buys, nobody comes to it, that kind of thing. I have a very specific framework that I use, and just very briefly, it is what I consider your perfect profitable online business ideas where you merge and blend together your clinical brain and background, your experiences, as well as your passions, who you love to help, what you love to help with, and then the profit potential. Is it going to make money? These are all things that we go through in my course and with my one-on-one mentorship program to make sure it checks all the boxes. It's going to be something that you wake up every morning and you are so excited to get started in your business that you love it. And of course, that it brings in money and gives you the freedom that we're looking for. All that to say, you merge all of those things together and you make sure in certain ways that I teach in my framework that it's going to serve people huge, you love it, and that it brings in income. And to piggyback on that, one of the biggest pieces of advice that I could give your listeners is to do it messy. And healthcare providers are notorious for having difficulty doing this because we, from, day one, as early as we can remember in elementary, middle school, we're straight A students. We want to succeed. We want to be the top in the class. We want to have all of the clinical knowledge and education and skills so that we can serve at the highest, so we can really make an impact in the world and make a difference. And that perfectionism, you have to be able to sidestep that when it comes to an online business, because there's going to be times you fail. There's going to be things that are done very messy. In fact, I tell all of my clients, do it messy, but just start. Because if you don't start and perfectionism holds you back, like, it's never going to get going. You're never going to have what you want, the dream that you want, the income, the freedom, that sort of thing. And so you have to be able to do it messy. You have to be able to also be okay, full transparency with failure. You're going to have some failures, but I actually don't believe in failure. I don't think anything is a failure. There have been launches that I have done, especially at the very beginning, and they were dismal. No one purchased. But if you push through that, you sit in that failure and you ask better questions. What could I have done differently? Was it the wrong people in the room? Was it just a not yet, not a no, but a not yet? I'm not ready for yet. Was it my messaging? Was it the way that I delivered? Was I clear enough about what I was saying? And pivoting and tweaking, doing it messy again, showing up again, even through the failure. And on the other side of that was thousands of dollars that I would have left sitting there, and multiple people, numerous people that I wouldn't have helped with their own transformation if I wouldn't have worked through that. So you have to do it messy. You have to get started. And even if your initial idea doesn't pan out, it's just a pivot. It's all breadcrumbs.
So one thing that I know a lot of people ask also or think about is like, what if they may say, I don't have a big social media presence, or I don't really like to be in social media, and I don't want to be living my life on social media. Is that required for this to be successful?
I do encourage my clients to pick one platform. You do not need to be on every platform. You don't need to be on social media all the time. There are ways to grow and to scale without using social media. So, for example, you can be a guest on other people's podcasts. You can collaborate with other people. You can do affiliates. There's lots of different ways to monetize that. But I do encourage, just because there are so many people on social media, whether that's LinkedIn, whether that is TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I mean, there's so many different platforms out there, to pick one and maybe start by posting just a tip, like a static post, a Canva image kind of thing. So if you don't want to show your face, which you absolutely don't have to show your face, there are ways to still grow your audience. You just have to provide value. That's what it comes down to, is serving your people. Business is all about radical empathy. That is literally what business is. It is about empathizing and being there for people who need your information and knowledge, and helping them get that transformation, whether it's a super tiny transformation, lose 5 pounds in 2 weeks, whatever, or a huge transformation. It doesn't matter. People want that connection. People want to be supported, and people want someone who sees and hears them. That is literally all businesses. It doesn't have to be this super overwhelming thing where I have to dance on TikTok and go viral. That is not true. You can have a very, very small audience and still be wildly successful and make exponentially more than you can as a provider. And so you don't have to have a billion people. You just have to have the right people who need your help.
We're not here to be like, it's a get rich quick type of scheme or anything like that. And we're not saying that it's something that's just going to happen overnight. But there is a framework, right, that can help people to get there. And there's proven steps in business. You don't have to reinvent things. There are steps there for you to follow. And I just want people to understand that it is doable.
You have to work for it. And it also comes down to consistency. Like, you can't just show up once on social media and think you're going to make a ton of money. That is not how it works. Like, you have to show up. You have to make deposits to your people, deposits of value. And sometimes that takes a few weeks and sometimes that takes months. But the point is that you need to care enough about your people and their transformation that you continue to show up even when you hear crickets, even when your dad is the only one who likes your posts, and to keep going, to not let that discourage you, because there are people out there, they just haven't found you yet.
I know there's probably some people also that are watching this and they're like, holy crap, I'm already overwhelmed and burnt out by my workload. I get home at the end of the day, I'm exhausted. What would you say to those people about how much extra work this is going to be, and if there are tools and things available to help them?
Yes, absolutely. So there are so many resources out there to fast track your success. For example, my course does that. There's lots of different resources out there to help you fast track. But if you feel like you are kind of burning the candle from both ends, I've been there. I was working two full-time jobs and started my first business. And the point is when you are in that arena that you do the things that actually move the needle, meaning you don't spin your wheels doing things that don't really matter. So, for example, I didn't have a website for my first business until 8 months in, and I was still making plenty of money from the business. So, you don't need to have all the bells and whistles. Again, it's about serving somebody. So, you need basically somewhere somebody can pay you. That could be Venmo, it could be PayPal, and you need some way to deliver a paid offer. And then, of course, what we call a freebie or a lead magnet. So, what a freebie or a lead magnet is it's something super sexy, super spicy that helps your person get a small win and help them with whatever it is that you help with in some kind of small fashion to pull them into your world, to show them that you have the information that they need, that you can help them. And so even if you feel like you don't have much time, you can absolutely spend 30 minutes a day or maybe 2 hours on the weekend. Create your freebie, maybe some social media during the week. It does not have to take a ton of time. And I'm talking like 30 minutes a day to get your name out there and to work on a few of the back end things in your business to get the ball rolling.
Give people some idea who may not know, like what kind of things are out there to help people make these posts, like to help them write it and help them come up with the visuals.
Some of my favorite platforms. I love Canva, canva.com. I use Canva every day, all day. Yes. And there is a free version of Canva. I use the paid version and that gives you like extra tools, but by all means, you do not have to have the paid version. So let's say you want a social media post and you don't want to show your face, right? Or you don't want to post pictures of yourself. Canva is great, super user friendly. So Canva is one of
And
my
they have
favorites
templates.
for, yes,
You
templates.
plug and
Yes.
play.
Yes, it is amazing. And templates for everything. I mean, literally for your LinkedIn banner, everything is on Canva. Canva is just phenomenal. That's also where I create my lead magnets and my freebies that are like downloadable checklists, that sort of thing. So Canva, love it. I also love ChatGPT. I use Chat every single day. I have really spent some time to train it really well, to train it to be able to speak in my brand voice. Of course, you want to proofread everything to make sure it is truly you before you send it out. But I use Chat for like Instagram captions or asking Chat to help you come up with 20 hooks for your people that would help them get value from your post or to give you ideas on what to post if you get stuck on social media. Chat GPT also has a free and a paid version, and you can absolutely start out with the free version.
So you mentioned your course, and I have looked at your course. It's fabulous. But I wonder if you could just give people an idea of kind of the framework. Like, what are the major things that you would help people with if they took your course?
Sure. So my Escape the Clinic course takes you from no idea what you could even do for an online business to launching your online business in 90 days. And that could be shorter or longer, depending on how quickly you want it up and going and what you decide to do, which business model. So we start by choosing your profitable online business idea. We've kind of touched on how I help providers figure out what their perfect profitable idea is, even if they think they don't have one. And
Right.
most of the time, once we get through that, you usually have multiple ideas. And then it becomes really fun because then you get to really narrow down what you truly love to help people with. I also teach you as you are putting together your paid offer. So the offer, the service that you have, how you're going to make money. As you're putting that together, you're building your audience. And so the building the audience part, that is finding where your future super fans, what I call them, your future super fans live, and providing tremendous value to them, pulling them into your world so that when your paid offer is created, you are making sales. You start making sales. So you're not creating your paid offer and then building your audience, which would take, longer, right? So we're building your audience, creating excitement, pulling them into your world as you create your paid offer. My course includes those three models that we talked about, and the providers, whoever takes it, can decide which model they want to do, but they have lifetime access. If they want to go back and say, okay, I love my digital course, let's now create a monthly membership, or let's now do a group coaching program or whatever. So they can choose which business model that they want to go with and build their audience at the same time, and then launching it, getting it out into the world and making sales. So there are lots of different things in there too, like social media hooks and templates to collaborate with people to grow your audience really fast, so that you can start pulling people into your world quickly and start making money.
Yeah, and I have to say, I have looked through Katie's course, and I was blown away looking at your course and all that you offer, and how logical the framework is, and all of the things that you cover. I just think it's fantastic. So I am definitely going to be recommending your course to people. I think it's something that can really help people, and I just love it, and I'm excited about it. And you're going to offer a discount for my viewers, right? They can save a little bit of money if they use my code, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay, and then I will have the discount code and the link to Katie's course down below, so you can check that out. So Katie, what do you have to say for those clinicians or people that are watching that are sitting on the fence, that they're kind of dreaming about a business, they've thought of things before, but they're just not really sure that they can or that they should?
I would say follow those nudgings and those inklings. I sat and listened to that voice for many years, knowing that there was something else that was calling to me, but also having a lot of doubt and a lot of imposter syndrome and guilt, like, oh, I should be happy in this incredible career I have, but, miss time with my family, and this is what I really want. And so I would say pay attention to those nudgings. I am faith-based, and I sat for a long time kind of arguing with God and saying, yes, but, and I'm really scared, until finally he violently shoved me into the direction I was supposed to go. And his plan was so much better than anything I could have ever imagined. And that's just my personal beliefs, that being faith-based, that we are put on this planet for a purpose. We have very specific giftings that nobody else has, right? Every person has something so special to offer the world, something so special to help others with, and it's needed. Your people need you. So listen to those nudgings, listen to those voices, and just take a tiny step towards those nudgings every single day. Life is so short. And what actually sent me over the edge was my sister, who had just graduated PA school. I actually taught her at the program where I worked.
Oh, fun.
She was in a car accident and didn't make it. And she
Oh, I'm so
was
sorry.
so young. And thank you. And she was so young and had her whole life ahead of her, was doing incredible things, literally just graduated PA school.
Ugh.
And I, of course, like through that grief and that tragedy, it was definitely a wake-up call. And it's sad that it took that for me to wake up and be like, I'm not doing this for another 3 decades. I want to spend every moment, meaningful moment, with my family, with what matters most, while still serving, still using the gifts that God has given me. So I would just say, pay attention to those nudgings. You do not have to stay stuck. And there's a way out that is so fulfilling, and it is not difficult, and it's so fun. And who you become in the process it's just amazing. The whole journey is amazing.
I'm sure we're all just heartbroken hearing about your sister, but it's tragic, but it is so true that anything can happen in our lives at any time. So do what you want to do in life, and don't put it off. But one thing you hit on that I think is important to say also is that I know some people have said, well, some people said it to me. Well, I thought about doing what you're doing, like talking about different medical specialties and helping people, but you're already doing it. And I'm like, that doesn't matter. Yeah, I may not resonate with people. My personality may not jive with them, but maybe you put stuff out. Maybe you're putting the same exact stuff out, but they love you because they resonate with you. There's always room in this world for each of us to have our own voice and our own way of presenting something, and you will find your audience, right?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yes, 1,000%. And actually, that is the experience part of my framework when it comes to creating your idea, is your personal story, your background, how you got to where you are is your superpower. And that's what makes your voice and your story, your business, so unique and so different than anything else out there. And a great example of this is, look at the fitness injury. There are millions of people out there making money on fitness. But I guarantee you, there's about maybe two people that you resonate with, that you love, who you like digesting any posts that they make because you love them. But there's also 20 other people that you do not like, that you don't resonate with when it comes to fitness. All of them are making money, but what's different is their brand style, their brand voice, which comes from their personal story. And so I encourage anyone who is thinking that their niche is too saturated, their field is too busy. That is not true, because it really comes down to your personal story and background. And there's people out there who will only resonate with you, which is why I'm so passionate about healthcare providers starting their own business, because there are people out there who desperately need your help. And you're the only one who can give it to them in the way that they need.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, well, I think that is a perfect place to end this interview. If this chat sparked new ideas for you, I've got a playlist you're going to love. It's packed with interviews from PAs and NPs who have built businesses in all kinds of ways. Even more proof that freedom outside the clinic is possible. Just click this link here to start exploring.